folks, my name's Allan, and this is my wash plant. Now, if you haven't seen my original wash plant video from November 2016, I suggest you go check it out before you see what we're doing here today so you have a better understanding. Today I'm going to describe to you some of the upgrades that we have here with the wash plant that helps make it work a lot better. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So one of the things I've done is I removed the bilge pump. This is a 12-volt bilge pump, pumps out 3,700 gallons per hour that I was using on the original Trommel. And the problem with this is that after about 20 or 30 hours, the brushes wear out. So I'm always having to take it apart, putting in new brushes and all that. It's kind of a pain. So I went ahead and got rid of that, and I got a gasoline-powered pump. This is a 1.5-inch trash pump that I use, and it has several advantages. One is obviously it can pump water up to the trommel, so it can run the feeder hopper, which I'll explain here in a little bit. And the other advantage is that the intake pipe, even though I can suck up the water, I can actually take this and move it over here and put it into this tank where the dewatering trommel, all the silt that comes out of that falls into this tank. It's minus 60. I can pump it out. Before I was having to take a shovel and I was having to scoop it out with a shovel. It was a big pain. Now I can simply just stick this tube in here and suck it all out and pump it out onto the tailing pile. Makes it really quick, easy, and simple instead of spending a lot of time. Now on my claim, I have a lot of clay rock material that's really gooey. It has a hard time breaking down. So I built this feeder hopper. It's simply made out of 1/4-inch plywood, and then it's been sheeted with sheet metal on the inside. And then I built this spray bar to go on top of it. So this pump is strong enough to run this, enough pressure to run this. Now you remember my original video, I was actually feeding the material right down into here, and I had the pipe coming straight in. Well, now all I did is I took this out, modified this section right here, put a grizzly on here so that way rocks that are 1.5 inches or larger just simply roll off onto the tailing pile, and then the rest of it drops down into the trommel and gets processed out the other end. Now to show you how I've made this, it's just made out of simple PVC. This just rests right on top of here, and I'll just set it down here for a minute. And this is just a framework that I built out of PVC pipe. It's basically 1/2 inch, and then I've got 1.5-inch T connectors that I split in half that just simply rest right on top of the trommel connections right down here. So that just cradles it, and of course the feeder hopper just rests right on top of that, and I've got little detents to hold it in place. So we'll show you how that works in a little bit. The other item that I've replaced is the sluice. The old A52 sluice has been replaced by a new sluice developed by Snake River Product that has a very unique riffle system, which I'll show you here in just a minute. Now, first of all, when the material comes down onto the sluice, it's all turbulent. As you remember the first video that I showed, it was all spinning around, churning and all that, which is not good for getting the gold to settle down. So we put in these little guide channels that help stabilize the fluid and material before it even reaches the riffles. Now the other thing is that it has the standard raised rubber matting here at the front for picking up some of the fine gold, but the cool thing is these riffles here are a double V stacked set of riffles that has a unique characteristic in terms of trapping gold, and it's amazing how much fine gold it gets. So if you look closely here, you can see these little V-shaped ridges all along here. There's higher ones and lower ones. And what happens is the material flows over this, and then what it does is it creates a lot of vortex action, causing the gold to actually drop behind the riffle. I find some pieces of gold trapped in the center of the V's itself. But the neat thing about this stuff is it traps the fine gold. It does a really good job. So by the time you get down to this part of the riffle, there's virtually no gold left. All the gold is pretty well trapped up in the upper 2/3 of this. So it's very, very efficient. With my old sluice that had the typical Hungarian riffles, I was finding gold at the very last riffle, which is not good at all. So this actually is much more effective than the standard riffle that I had with the previous wash. The other advantage with this is that I don't need to run as much water, okay? The other one's running at 3,700 gallons per minute. This one here only runs about like 1,500 to 2,000. So you're using less water and getting more efficiency. You're not flushing out the fine gold. Another way to mitigate silt in this process is I built these filters in this secondary tank. and this is a 200 mesh screen and a 400 mesh screen. So all the fluids that are coming off the dewatering trommel into here, of course this is minus 60 that's spilling into here, and then anything that's even finer gets trapped over here with these two screens. So by the time the water flows into this third tub where the pump is and everything, there's virtually no silt at all, so it's getting pumped back up into the trommel. Another addition is this tram system I built that runs on wooden rails to dispose all the tailings. So basically this is a typical cement mixing bucket that you get at the hardware store. And then what I did is I built this little dolly truck out of wood, and then I just got some rubber wheels, got this Harbor Freight. You can see these little wheels in here that just roll on the 2x4 rails. And so what I do is when this fills up from the dewatering trommel with all the tailings, once it fills up, I can now wheel it out to the dump, where before I just had a bucket here and I was having to haul it, pick it up, take it. Now I can easily move more material and it'll just rail all the way out to the end here, where then I can just take a shovel, scoop it out, and then what's left of it I can just dump. All right, well, let's go ahead and get things fired up and let's get some gold. And yeah, you're gonna get muddy. That's a little Jeff Williams to you. How clean this is getting. Look how clean this rock is. It's really well washed and everything. Very, very good. Before it was all gooey and muddy, and now it's very clean. This is really hard to do with this kind of material. So let's check the action of the sluice. You can see right up here how the water is flowing into these channels and actually straightening out. So by the time it reaches the first rib rudder matting, it's actually pretty smooth. And it's running fairly smooth over all the double V riffles along the way. Now eventually I'm going to build a conveyor instead of using this thing. It'll be a lot easier. But in the meantime, this is pretty low cost and inexpensive to get rid of the tailings. There we go. What we're doing here is dredging out this tub, getting all the muck out and everything, and shooting it down out the tail end there. So if you take a look down that way, you'll see it just belching out through the pipe. And this is a fast and easy way to actually clear this. Okay, we took the sluice out. Now here's some preliminary look at some of the gold pieces on the raised rubber matting. We got this nice little piece right here. We got a few more pieces along here, a few little dots in here. Here's a couple more pieces of gold down this direction. You see some right over here on this raised matting right through here, and a few little more dots along in here. So we got a lot of good little small pieces of gold kind of stacked in here. Here's another one right there. Then we also have some that are also just in the first part of this double V matting and everything. Here's a nice little piece of gold right here. You can see that. I'm holding that with the tweezers. So let's go ahead and take this matting out and wash it and see how much gold we collected. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take the mat out. Now this mat fits in here really snug, so it takes a little bit of work to get it out. So we're just going to take this. We're going to pull it up. We're just going to slowly roll it around. And as we get up to the front, there's like a little aluminum ridge in which this mat is tucked underneath. So we'll just kind of pull this out. It takes a little bit of effort. Okay, and now we got our mat. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just slide it into the bucket, and then we'll go ahead and rinse it off by just shaking it around. So we'll shake it with it curled on the inside at first, just to get most of the volume out. Okay. And then once we get most of the volume out, I know that we want to open up those little V's and everything to get all the rocks and other pieces and hopefully nuggets out of there too. So we'll take this and we'll just slowly spin it around the other way. Keep it inside the bucket so it doesn't go anywhere. And we'll just spin it around this direction. So now all the V's are open, and we'll go ahead and just continue the same thing to shake it out. Don't be afraid to shake it violently. All right, now we're going to remove this raised rubber matting. It comes with a little screw and wing nut that kind of holds this body together. So we're just going to undo this. And you do have to kind of hang on to the nuts. So I recommend just kind of having a little tub or a bucket or something or a container to put it all in. And it makes a nice tight fit. Fits really tight. So now we're going to go ahead and try to get this thing out, okay? So I'm going to raise this up a little bit. I'm just going to kind of wiggle her out. It takes a little bit of effort. Come on, baby. There we go, almost out. Sometimes the material gets stuck up in here a little bit, so it's a little tight getting out, but you'll get it. There we go. And now we're free. Now we'll go ahead and take this. It's got that nice piece of gold in it. See it right there? And then we'll just go ahead and put it right here in our bucket, and we'll go ahead and rinse it off. Okay, so the final clean out, to make sure we get all the little bits of gold, there's always a little bit something hiding underneath this ridge. So I'm going to go use this little squeegee bottle. You can use anything, sprayer or whatever, just to get underneath here and kind of just get all the material out of there, okay? So once you're done, then you can go ahead and pour it with some more water and flush it all the way down into the bucket. And hey, you're all clean, ready to go for the next round. So we're finally getting down to the concentrates from our sluice. I'm using a Maverick pan from Snake River Products. I kind of like this one here because when you tap it and everything, it packs the, spin around this way, it packs the golden material on this last lip here, so it packs it down in there. So I always like, I'm right-handed, so I have it orientated this way. So kind of tap it in here, and we'll kind of wash a little bit of the material out. Okay, and we'll go ahead and see how much gold we got from our concentrates. In fact, I'll just spin it around here so we get the sun on it just right, make it a little easier to see. I'll bring it up here to the camera so we can actually kind of see what's going on. And you can see just little bits of black sand, or little bits of gold in the black sand starting to show already. You can see a whole bunch starting to show up here in the corner. Oh yeah, looking pretty good. Mind you, this is just basically, we're running about maybe a half a yard of material. Here's some nice pieces starting to show up all over here, all over through here, you know, kind of mixed in the black sand. See the nice little chunks of iron in there too from, you know, hematite. Panning down, you're starting to see more layers of gold. Here's some nice pieces showing up all through here, a whole bunch of finds. In fact, I'll bring it up to the camera here, see if it can focus on that. Okay, it looks like there's some more stuff showing up now. And it looks like we got ourselves a little nugget right there starting to show up through. We got a whole bunch of other good pieces starting to show up through the black sand here. It's looking really good here, not bad at all. Yeah, not too bad. There's a nice little nugget here. We'll pick this up. See if we can bring that up to the camera there. Bring it up a little closer. Hopefully it'll focus on you. There we go. That's pretty good. And we still got a whole bunch of other finds that are still coming out here that are still packed against this ridge. Just constant flowing of gold. Not too bad for a little bit of an afternoon's work. Yep. Alright, and I'll try to get it into the sun a little better so you can see some of the stuff we're working here in the corner. Look at all that gold in that corner right there. Yep, looking pretty good. Not too shabby. That's about it for right now, folks. I hope you found all this information useful and can apply it to your own operation. Please subscribe to my channel so that way you can get future updates. And until next time, I wish you the very best in your prospecting adventures. Get out there and find some gold, and have a good one. Take care. Till next time. Thank you.